G'day ladies and gentlemen, Clayton here, Gold Coast Wraps. So what I have today is the 222 Offshore Race Team's new livery. So what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to run through what we do, why we do it, and the benefits of it. So we've already created the artwork in Illustrator, so that's full vector up there on that screen. On the tablet here, we're going to have it in Photoshop. So we've already done this boat a few times, so I have already got a template in Photoshop with all the correct measurements and alignments, which looks like that. I use pink just to break it up because we've got a lot of gray in this design. And I'll just run through a few things that I've got and why we're doing it. So we're taking the vectors out of the 10% and we're already placing it into our Photoshop. And the reason why I'm going into Photoshop and doing it, because when I add in the layers and I want to put in the shading, so in Illustrator, when you do the shading, you often get steps in the gradient. So this way I can get a really nice smooth layer. And I can also just play with the highlights and lowlights and different, what do they call them? Things that are just going to make it a little bit nicer. So once I add in over here, the, not the blue, what am I looking for? The light camo here and there. And you'll notice here that I've got some shadows. Very easy to tweak with this program, just makes it so much nicer. I already have the spider that I've taken from one of the original boats here. So once again, if I throw these stripes on here, this was the old design, last season's livery. So I kept that there just for references. I have photos of the boat and I know exactly where everything falls, and I'm really happy with the way that sits there. Probably don't need them in there, but I'm just throwing it together. So then we have back to our smart object. Once again, I was easily able to add the shadow in there. The reason we're having this fade in here is when down spine of the boat, we're going to run sponsors. They will be cut images and vectors so that they can be removed and replaced as the season goes on or different events happen. Okay, so I've got that there. I don't need that one. I got blue here and here, and then I have the logos on separately. So what I want to do here is on this smart object of the right hand side blue, I want to add a bit of a drop shadow here, just to make the blue sit back a bit and make the camo stand up. So this is why I love Photoshop, because you get so even gradients, and when you scale it, it's perfect. So I'm just going to use the drop shadow tool. I'm going to bump that up so I can see it. Distance, spread, size. Oh, you idiot. So I do want to do a drop shadow, but actually want to do an inside shadow, and then I've just realized that's always the way when you're talking to people, you sort of get off track. I really need to grab this, grab that, do this. Now I'm going to add another layer. And what I might do is just going to do this, I reckon this will look a little bit nicer. So I'm going to grab my pen tool, change that to something a bit bigger, like a lot bigger, because this is a big boat. Too big. Yeah, I'm liking that. But I don't want full strength. I want it to be probably 35%. I don't want white, I want black, not blue. Okay. So now the reason why I'm going to do this, I'm actually going to make it a bit thicker at the front. And then travel a bit thinner. Command minus, zoom out a bit. I love using Apple, have that beautiful advantage. Control Z, not happy with it. This is where sometimes things can take a bit longer than planned. It might take you 4 or 5 goes to get exactly how you want. Like that. Okay, so I'm happy with that. Command deselect. I can duplicate that, and then I want to drag it up there, shift, flip it vertically. Right, now we're going to make sure that we get this thing mint in the right spot. And just remembering too that this boat is actually like 14 meters long or something, so it's the same size as a semi-truck. Very important here. I like to get my lines really good. Cool, so that's one feature. Right, what I'm going to also do is drag over the deck now. So I'll go up to the illustrator, find my layer. This is where it's very important to have layers actually labeled. As you can see here, I've got right hand side, left hand side, front. Is that the front that I want? Yeah, so that's exactly what I want. I'm gonna bring all that over together, I think, because the 222 is gonna stay. Actually, I'm gonna use the 222 in another layer. Okay, that one and that one. All right, dragging it down to here, bang. And what I love with Photoshop and Illustrator, they work pretty well together. So I've dragged that over, and all I have to do is bump that up by 1000%, tab, and voila. Okay, so I find the middle of that boat there. X should be right on our blue line. Command plus. Just looking at the crosshair, should be right on that center line there. Now I know that that is in the center. If I click back up here, that jumps back to there. I'm looking at the gap I've got there. So I want to bring shift, so you hold still, shift, shift, shift. Like I said, it's important to name your thing. So right over here, I type in deck blue navy. Bang. I should label this. This is the left hand shade on the blue. Done. And then this one here is the right hand side shade blue. And that's one simple little thing. I'm going to add some shading here, add the logos over. I'm going to mess with this spider a fair bit. I actually made him, and he's like a heap of different pieces. And I'm going to have his arm, so he's more like he's holding on closer to the windscreen. So if I go to that, where are you? Spider here, drop that down, all different layers. So I can then move things around to suit what I want it to do. So there's a leg there, and then I can just downsize, upsize. Come on, there you go. So eventually I can sort of move that around or kink it, you know, from here and here, and with the warp tool. Cool, I will leave you with it. Ciao. Here's a little bit of useless information for you. The spider here, the red on the back, is a rough representation of Australia.